championship so close you can taste it.
Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100.
Side by side. And your new champion, Christian Rasmussen. Pace car is ducked on off. Eves and McElroy on the front row. They'll slowly crawl their way up to that long zone, about 250 feet between the two RTI signs. They can't go till they get into that punch-off zone. Does Eves go early? Eves holding tight. He's on the throttle. Green, green, green. And Eves trying to get that big lead down into turn number one. Not quite the lead his teammate Brooks had in USF 2000. He'll stay to the bottom of the racetrack. Around the outside comes Christian Rasmussen, side by side with Artem Petrov. Petrov trying to go by McElroy. 2 and 3. I think Petrov potentially able to get himself into the second spot. No, Hunter McElroy holds on to it. So Petrov slots into the third position. There's a big lead for Braden Eves. McElroy down to the bottom. Rasmussen trying the outside. This is going to be 2 by 2 through here. And indeed, Rasmussen in the J. Howard driver development machine able to slot into P3. Petrov goes back to fourth. Artem Petrov, fiery competitor for sure. Drivers now working through 8 and 9. Let's see if they can get through the opening lap cleanly. Much better than USF 2000 thus far. We're going to half a lap in. Further back, little side by side coming down the straightaway to turn number 10. Todd, pretty good opening lap, and there's your lead for Braden Eves.
There you are. Get out onto the back part of the course now, heading towards that left-hander in corner number 10. The cars snake over to the left before moving back to the right to get that left-hander in that corner number 10 where we have seen trouble on a few occasions. But it looks like we'll get through lap number 1 unscathed. And Braden Eves comes first across the finish line ahead of Hunter McElroy by a little over 1/10 of a second. That's 7/10 of a second.
I believe that we saw when the drivers were pulling off pit lane, one driver pulled off to the side, not able to continue. I think that was Cameron Shields, an issue for Cameron. Not able to get the car fired, not able to get the car onto the racetrack, so Cameron Shields is going to drop down to 16th position. Tough one for the young driver from Australia, a very talented young racer. An issue there, mechanical, the D-Force entry. Drivers getting super aggressive further back. You can see some defense there as James Rowe trying to hold off, I believe, Flynn Lazier. Drivers settling in now as they get back at it. Opening lap already in the books of 25 scheduled here for Indy Pro 2000. Single file coming through turns 8 and 9. Crucial to get back on the power quickly out of turn 9 to get that long run down to turn number 10. Indy Pro 2000 showing well thus far. It's a 7/10 of a second lead for Braden Eves up front. Already a victory on the season, winning the opening round at Barber Motorsports Park. Hunter McElroy won the back end of that doubleheader. They now run first and second. Third is Rasmussen as he was able to slip by Artem Petrov. Prix Gold now up into the fourth spot. Fifth is Anam Ahmed. He is defending aggressively here right now for Manuel Suleiman. That's that shot you see to the left of the screen. Ahmed trying to hold off Suleiman. Suleiman trying to go around the outside of turn number 1. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it done, though. No, Ahmed's going to come back across the bow from right to left. He'll hold on to the position. Ahmed holding on to P6.
That's the challenge as you're trying to make that pass through corner number 1. We talked about if you're going down through the inside, you've got to make sure that you have completed the pass to ensure that you can stay in front going through corner number 2 and 3 as the track moves as you move along. This is the opportunity that we're going to get in the USF, that we did get in the USF 2000 series, is that with green flag laps, drivers will now have the ability to watch the competitor immediately ahead of them, see where they're a little weaker, where their car might be a little better, and where there's an opportunity to gain positions.
Indeed, it's about getting behind the driver, kind of going to school. Where are they better than you? Are you quicker into one corner? Can you roll maybe more speed through one of the corners to be able to jump out and get rolling? And again, out front, there's this battle here right now between Anam Ahmed, Manuel Suleiman, and Wyatt Prokachik. Little bit of trouble coming through, though. There's an issue there. That is Jacob Abel in the number 51. He made contact with the wall. Abel, you can see the left rear. He has broken a rear trailing arm there, one of the suspension pieces, and Abel will head to pit lane. And that's how easy it is. I talked to Hunter McElroy, Todd. You'll love this as the drivers continue to circulate. I talked to Hunter on his fast lap when he went purple to be able to get P1. He literally came through the turn 12-13 kink. 12's a little right-hander. So close to the wall, he heard the tink of the wheel touching the concrete. Didn't hear it. You could see the scratch on the wheel. Didn't feel it in the actual steering wheel, but he could hear himself hit the concrete. That's how close you have to be for a fast lap.
That's using every inch of the track to
Yeah.
gain that speed and that time. Jacob Abel did make his way down along pit road. You could see the effects of that contact. He used or tried to use a little more of the track than was actually there, and you could see that car wiggling just a little bit as
And
it came
I
down
think
along pit road.
I think it was 13.
Yeah.
So the right, because they came through the right cleanly of turn number 12, coming through 13, just tapped that left rear a bit on the concrete, and he hit it hard enough. And Hunter had said this, I didn't hit it hard enough to hurt the toe at anything. It was the front wheel. He hits the rear wheel, damage there, and likely knocked one of the suspension mounts and broke that coming through turn 13.
That's the illustration of how close you have to be to the walls to get those fast laps, and that's what these drivers do lap after lap after lap. Braden Eves continues to lead Hunter McElrea by up to 9/10 of a second now. Christian Rasmussen is third. Artem Petrov and Reese Gold round out your top five.
Key a lot now in the battle between Anam Ahmed and Manuel Suleiman. That is for the 6th and 7th position. Anam, a former British Formula 3 champion, raced in the FIA Formula 3 Championship as well. Thrilled to have him over here this year. And they're just getting a better feel for the race car. And he said this, I talked to him as well, just starting to get a feel for it. RP Motorsports wasn't here last year. They won the championship with Kyle Kirkwood back in 2019. So going over the data that they have, just trying to see what's exactly right. Anam said, I couldn't believe how much different the track was for qualifying too. With that more rubber down, they had a bit of entry over understeer. The car just kept pushing off. He's going to get better and better the more comfortable he gets with this race car, the more he feels like he knows it, can trust it. And same with the team, the dialogue that they all have together. Anam currently running in the 6th position. I'll have a look where they are in the championship points. I think he's going to find himself probably in the top 6 after this race as well as he's running. And there's the fight now. Artem Petrov and Reese Gold. Artem pressing the reset button as he tries to go back after Christian Rasmussen.
5 laps complete. Braden Eves leaves Hunter McElrea, Christian Rasmussen. Scholarship winners mentioned, we've talked about it a little bit through the weekend. If you win the championship in one level in the road to Indy, you move up to the next level. Christian Rasmussen had the USF 2000 championship in 2020. That means he gets a ride this year in the Indy Pro 2000 series and trying to make the most of it in the early going. Currently running third. Had a good run at Barber. Had a little bit of an issue that had a win go away from, but had a good run at Barber.
Yeah.
He's trying to maximize that championship where he has a ride guaranteed this year.
I think it's a tremendous run so far. Great start to the season for the Danish driver Christian Rasmussen. You think about it too. Jay Howard Driver Development making the jump up into Indy Pro for the very first time. Wyatt Prokachik, I think, is really the huge surprise to me of the 2021 season. Wyatt was kind of a mid-pack to the tail of the pack USF 2000 driver in his first season. Seems like he is really enjoying this Indy Pro 2000 car. Currently running strongly right now in the 8th position, just ahead of Jack William Miller and Colin Kaminsky. So overall, their first season here in Indy Pro 2000 racing, Jay Howard Driver Development has really been one of the surprises of 2021.
Nice to see not just drivers, but teams moving up to extra levels of the road to Indy as well, with Jay Howard Driver Development moving up. Carlin is back in the Indy Lights series this year. They had been a fixture in the Indy Lights, moved away when they started their NTT IndyCar Series program, but it's nice to have Carlin back in Indy Lights. They will be on track with their first race of the weekend a little bit later on this afternoon as well. The lead now just over a second. Braden Eves on Hunter McElrea.
And indeed, the cream kind of rising to the top here right now. We talk about the drivers in their second year potentially looking very good. Eves and McElrea, second year in the program, of course, tremendous rookie seasons, single seasons in USF 2000. Both those drivers race winners, battling to the championship all the way down to the end. Rasmussen has been really good out of the gate. All but won the second round at Barber Motorsports Park, a minor issue down in turn number 5. And here's that battle there. Rasmussen trying to go around the outside. He does it. Rasmussen to P2. Book it. He's able to get by Hunter McElrea. Christian Rasmussen is rolling 0.3 of a second quicker than the leader, rather than Eves and McElrea last time by. Todd Rasmussen on the move forward. He goes to P2.
Nice move to get through and pick up the position. Now he'll set his sights immediately on Braden Eves to see if he can chase him down in the remaining 17 laps of action around this one. And again, this is what we talked about a little bit earlier. You have a chance to settle in once you get a few green flag laps and understand what your car is doing. You have the view of the car ahead of you and see where you might be faster, where you might be able to take advantage. Christian Rasmussen has done it against Hunter McElrea and moved into the second position. He'll try to do the same same thing now against Braden Eves. Nice to see a good, clean move into corner number 1 in the early part of that lap.
And listen, that's a great way to make the pass at 1. We saw a couple of ill-fated attempts in the USF 2000. When you try to make a move down to the inside of a driver in USF 2000, you're all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. It's just not going to work. You have to get off on the brake so much earlier. You're carrying less speed into the corner because you got to make that big right-hand turn. A better move is when the driver blocks to the inside. You're able to get the run to the outside. And as long as you pull almost alongside or maybe a little bit more into the braking zone, you're going to have position when you come back to the right for turn number 2 and 3. And that's what we saw there for Rasmussen. He was just able to get all the way around the outside, rolled big corner speed, and was able to get through 2 and 3 before McElroy. And McElroy, to his credit, a veteran driver, didn't force the issue. He realized that he had gotten beat in that corner. Hey, fight and live to battle another day or another corner, another lap, right? You don't want to give it away this early.
Have a chance to go back and regain the position later on, because as these cars continue to circulate around for this 25-lap race, they're going to change dramatically. As fuel burns off, the tires will wear. Who handles the tire situation best? Who maintains their tires towards the end of the race, perhaps giving them an opportunity to gain positions or regain positions. But the feel and handling of these cars as fuel burns away will be significantly different near the end of the race than it was at the beginning.
And one of the things I always like to point out, a driver who is really, really good at the start may not be really good at the end. You can go a little higher on your tire temps. That's going to bring the tire pressures to bring the tire temperatures up early. Everybody else, tires are coming up. You go a little higher, you're going to be good early. For the first 5-10 laps, you can be faster. But then your tire pressures keep going. You're burning the tires off. You may not be good near the end of the race. We're only 10 laps in, 15 laps still to go. And we look at lap times right there. Rasmussen now down to 1.4 back. He was about 0.3 of a second quicker than Eves last time by. Watch for Braden Eves, though, to manage the gap that he has. Right now, running a nice consistent pace, banging out 109.6s, 109.7s. We'll see if he's challenged. If Rasmussen gets to within a second, let's see if Eves is able to go down to the low 109s.
Rasmussen has taken over second spot from Hunter McElroy. Artem Petrov and Reese Gold continue to run in the top 5 as we're through 10 laps now here at the Indy Pro 2000 on the streets of St. Petersburg, part of the Firestone Grand Prix. First of 2 races this weekend. They're racing in warmer temperatures today. I suspect it'll be conditions a little different tomorrow morning, certainly a little cooler. I'm not sure if it'll be damp yet. We'll have to wait and see, but conditions could be very different tomorrow morning for race number 2 of the Indy Pro 2000.
Drivers again rolling out of the front straightaway. Big, long front chute here. So crucial to get out of turn 14 cleanly. And, of course, you're coming into this complex of corners here where the apex is literally a concrete wall. You're getting as close as you possibly can. Again, every one of the engineers will tell the rookie drivers to start, a couple of feet away from the barrier and slowly start working your way closer. The closer you get, the faster you are, but also you kind of increase the risk, the peril of potentially making contact with the apex.
Look at how close Braden Eves and Christian Rasmussen were on that last lap around. Eves turned it at a 109.476. Rasmussen's time, a 109.479. That is almost identical.
And as I had said, let's see what Eves could do. He was turning 109.6s, 109.7s, real comfortable there. Had a nice little lead over Hunter McElroy. Christian Rasmussen obviously comes to second. Now, let's see what Rasmussen's got. You can be guaranteed on the radio, his strategist, his team, telling Braden Eves exactly how quick Rasmussen's going. Here's the gap. What do you like? You like a second and a half? How about a second and a half right now? A 105.4 again for Eves. Now, he'll just try to match what Rasmussen does. If Rasmussen goes down to a 109.2, we'll see if Eves is able to respond. The key, try to maintain that 1.5 gap. Don't burn the tires. 1.5 is all you need to win a race.
And this, again, is part of the learning process for these drivers as they make their way through the road to Indy, managing the car, managing the tires, managing the gap of the competitor who's trying to keep you in his sights and perhaps draw a little bit closer for an opportunity to pass. As we near the midpoint of this race, we're just about halfway through. So now, as the fuel continues to burn off, we'll see how the handling of the cars change, who's managing their equipment best to get to the end, and who's managing the race.
Again, we take an opportunity to say hello to those of you who are listening here on the Road to Indy TV app or on IndyPro2000.com or RoadToIndy.tv. Watch the broadcast here. Thank you so much. My name is Rob Howden, joined by the voice of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Todd Lewis. We are now 13 laps in, as we said, 12 laps actually in, 13 laps to go here for Indy Pro 2000. It's a 1.1 second lead for Christian Rasmussen. He was able to get a bunch there, about 0.3 of a second quicker. Eves about a half a second slower on that last lap.
Yeah, interesting how this is going to seesaw back and forth. And again, understanding that we're just at the midway point of the race, Christian Rasmussen is doing his job in assessing where Braden Eves is and how he's going to lower that gap and get up close for an opportunity to take over that top spot. And Hunter McElroy keeping them in his sights as well. He's a little bit back, about 1.7 seconds back of Christian Rasmussen, but also turning laps in a 109.6 region.
In the middle of this race, a lot of gaps between most drivers. We'll get a chance to talk about Cooper Tires. Cooper Tire, proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Road to Indy, supporting all three rungs of the open wheel development ladder. American owned for over 100 years, Cooper makes tires that are built to last for your car, truck, or SUV. Visit CooperTire.com today to explore all the tires that Cooper has to offer and to find a dealer near you. Be sure to follow at Team Cooper Tire on Twitter and Instagram for latest updates on the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Again, big thank you to have Cooper Tires here, our spec sponsor, and really a huge supporter of our program. Full course yellow on the racetrack right now. We have an issue, full course yellow. So that gap for Braden Eves is going away. Trying to figure out what happened on the racetrack. It looks like the number 11 of Hunter Yaney potentially off in turn number 10. I got to think he's off in the runoff. You can see the crew already going. We saw an incident there yesterday with Eli Navarro in USF 2000 off that part of the racetrack. So Hunter Yaney, who was running in the 14th position, off in turn number 11. Todd pressed the reset button. That 1.3 second advantage gone for Braden Eves. Christian Rasmussen with an opportunity to pounce on the restart.
All right, we'll look forward to that once they get the issue cleared up out of corner number 10, which has been a problem spot this weekend. We've seen a number of drivers in different series go off in that corner. It is a challenging corner, trying to judge the braking, trying to judge the apex. Sometimes you miss it. There is a runoff area, and that looks like has happened to Hunter Yaney. He's run off into the area, the AMR safety team on site. They'll clear that vehicle away before we can go back to green flag racing with maybe about 10 or so laps in the end. A chance to cool down the tires a little bit, refocus, reset, and have the task at hand, the driver ahead of you.
Folks, if you want to follow all the action on the Road to Indy, as I've said many times before, make sure you download the free Road to Indy TV app at the Apple Store for iPhones or Google Play for Androids. Best way to follow it. We've got live coverage, live timing, all the episodes we have for Road to Indy TV. A lot of content there. So if you like what you're seeing now, you want to follow all the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series, make sure to download the free Road to Indy TV app. There you go. We're already clean. Pace car ducking on off. We're racing again. Back to green flag and a good start out of turn 14 for Braden Eves. He wants to make sure he holds Christian Rasmussen at bay down into turn number 1. Looking pretty clean now. Field set. I don't see any drivers making any moves coming down there. Lazier trying to hold off the machine of Jack William Miller, I believe. Actually, that might be, I believe that's Jacob Abel back out of the racetrack. I think what they did, they took the time to be able to repair that left rear to get him back out. And really crucial, you think about it, if you're trying to get championship points, trying to get yourself in the top 5 or trying to win a championship, you never know what else is going to happen here. One other driver comes out, you're able to run enough laps to get by, you move yourself up 1 or 2 spots. Those are the points you need when we get to New Jersey, actually, our finale this year. Important to have the track time as well. Jacob Abel had problems yesterday during the session, so get him out more and get as many laps as you can around. Braden Eves continues to lead Christian Rasmussen. Hunter McElroy, though, lurking in that 3rd position, looking to get back into that 2nd spot. And you can literally see, too, Jacob Abel pulling back. Doesn't want to get into the battle. He's about 4 laps back at this point here, 7 laps back. Just stay out of trouble right now. Get a feel for the race car. Maybe make a couple of changes. They may even come into pit again to make a change to the race car. Use this as essentially an in-race practice session. Exactly. All the track time available to you. Use it to your benefit. As we see, that lead is at 0.4 of a second now. Braden Eves ahead of Christian Rasmussen. A lot closer than that 1.3 before that brief yellow flag period. So here's an opportunity. Whoa, there's a... Yeah, Jack William Miller. That was a huge battle there. James Rowe Jr. putting all the pressure on Jack William Miller. Jack went down to the bottom of the racetrack to defend, and as I said, if you're down to the bottom of the racetrack, you cannot carry the speed you would from the outside of the corner. You got to whoa up the car a lot more. It's going to be a tighter turn to the right. Jack just overcooked the corner, went well off the racetrack. The rest of the field streaming on into the inside. And I want to say Rowe went by, Simpson went by, and indeed Flynn Lazier sliding through as well. So again, Eves out to about a 0.4 of a second advantage. Let's see if he can't pull it back away again. Very similar lap times between first and second. 15 laps in the book, still 10 laps remaining for the drivers here at Indy Pro 2000. There's a battle. I can see it just to the side of the screen. Lazier going to work right now on James Rowe. There's James Rowe there. Lazier on the Legacy Autosport machine all over him. Let's see if we get a pass. There they are here coming by us. They're coming to start finish. I have a feeling Lazier's going to try that move to the inside. Big run down the straightaway. Look at it. Down the inside. Rowe blocking big time. Got to come back to the outside. Rowe trying to hold him to the inside again. Lazier side by side. Book it. Lazier gets by James Rowe. That is for the 11th position. So that was aggressive. That was hounding. And that was waiting for the mistake.
Great illustration of how a pass gets set up much further back on the racetrack than when it's actually completed as well. He was up hounding Rowe, going through 13, 14, the final couple of corners, popped out on the long front straightaway. Rowe moved over in a defensive manner but could not hold the position. Lear had the momentum going into corner number 1 to complete the pass.
Well, I think a lot of moves for Lazier in the back. It was like, because Rowe was coming across to the inside. He went to the inside, then jinked to the outside. And, of course, Rowe then trying to leak out to the left a bit to try to get a better corner and right down the inside. For a driver, Flynn Lazier, former SCCA runoffs champion too. The guy's won a lot of races in SCCA competition.
I think that move is called the fade, where you kind of drift back across the track.
It wasn't a move. It wasn't a defensive move. I faded. Same thing here. Good battle between Anam Ahmed and Manuel Suleiman. Suleiman trying around the outside. Ahmed's going to dive it down to the bottom. Side by side, maybe some contact. No, and Suleiman is through. Suleiman through to take over 6th spot, and now Ahmed's going to watch out for Wyatt Prokachik now. We're getting some good racing further back, just outside the top 5. Ahmed now has Prokachik on the outside. Colin Kaminsky there to try to pick up the pieces. This is tremendous racing just outside the top 5. Manuel Suleiman, 2 times the winner last year, Mid-Ohio and New Jersey Motorsports Park. Running for Hunko's Racing this year. He's now up to 6th spot behind his teammate Reese Gold. Ahmed back now to 7th. Prokachik 8th. 9th is Colin Kaminsky. And behind them, trying to close back up as well. Then that's the next group. Actually, Kiffin Simpson leads the next battle with Flynn Lazier, James Rowe, and Jack William Miller.
Good example there of making a pass. You want to be careful making a pass and ensuring that you're going to be able to complete it. You don't want to get too close to the walls where you're going to run into issues. But you can't be delicate either. You've got to put the car in there. You've got to stick it into position and let that competitor know that you are coming through. You are taking that spot. And
the term I like to use, Todd, is a decisive move. You have to be aggressive, decisive. So literally, if you own the apex, you own the exit to a certain extent, right? Some of these tracks with a wider exit, maybe not so much, but that's really kind of the bottom line. If you're the first driver to the exit, if you present yourself, you're decisive with your overtake. The guy on the outside has got no choice but to secede the position.
Working lap 19, it continues to be Braden Eves out front. Christian Rasmussen second, 0.4 of a second behind. Hunter McElray is third, and lots of action throughout this field.
Yeah, hold your breath a little bit further back. That was Jack William Miller getting to the inside of James Rowe. Cameron Shields back onto the racetrack. He's 2 laps back, but I'm glad they were able to get him done. Something happened where he got checked up on the grid on the pit lane rolling out. Guys were jumping on the brakes. I think I saw him pull to the side, stalled the car, able to get it refired. He ends up going 2 laps back, but he's showing exactly the speed he has right now, trying to come to the front of that group. There's Manuel Suleiman. That's how far back he is from Reese Gold, as here is your drivers, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. That is Gold, Suleiman, Ahmed, Prokachik, and Kaminsky. 6 laps to go in Indy Pro 2000. Just a 1 quick stoppage for Hunter Yaney going off and not being able to get turned back around over in turn number 10. The AMR safety crew righting him, firing him back up, and he's back on the racetrack as well. But right now, Braden Eves just 0.3 of a second holding that gap over Christian Rasmussen.
Rasmussen has closed that gap down in the last lap or so, just 0.3 of a second, and another 0.6 of a second almost back to Hunter McElrea. Those top three all in touch with each other, all three looking to maintain and or improve their position through the final 5 laps of this race.
Yeah, time to start keying on the leaders here now. We've been picking up some of the battles further back, but this fight up front here right now, Braden Eves going to use everything he can to battle it out with Christian Rasmussen. And these are the last 2 consecutive USF 2000 champions scrapping it out right now. Braden Eves won in 2019, Christian Rasmussen in 2020. Multiple wins last year for Rasmussen. He's trying to see if he can't grab his first Indy Pro 2000 victory. Thus far this season, Braden Eves winning round number 1. Hunter McElrea winning round number 2. Do we get a first double winner, or do we get our 3rd victor of 2021? That's the battle right now, Eves versus Rasmussen.
Those front 3 cars have a little bit of a gap back to 4th place with Artem Petrov and Reese Gold rounding out the top 5. And Christian Rasmussen is trying to stick that nose in just a little bit. Looks like he's trying to creep a little closer as they go through the back part of this course, looking for that opportunity to get out in front. Where is his car better? These cars have changed significantly since they started 20 laps ago. Where is there an opportunity for him to take over top spot?
Hunter McElrea closing back up from P3. Artem Petrov starting to stretch it out there as well. The key is, what does Braden Eves do? You know, he wants the victory, but also Christian Rasmussen, 21 points back in the championship. If he forces the issue, do you fight back hard? Do you let the position go and try to fight back later? We'll see what happens. It's going to be a run here. 4 laps remaining when they come back out. A little bit of a tight pinch there for Rasmussen. Is he going to get enough draft? Indeed he is. He's right there. Braden Eves trying to break the draft a bit as they come onto the straightaway. That's okay. He's not moving in reaction to a move for another driver, just trying to break. You're allowed to move left to right, trying to break the draft. It's moving in reaction to another driver's offensive move that's illegal.
Right. If Rasmussen had made the move first and Eves had reacted in front of him, that is a defensive move. That's what you cannot do. But right now it is 0.3, and Rasmussen looking to the outside.
Trying the outside in turn number 5. They're going to be tight coming through. A little brake lock up there. Again, across the bow. Eves comes from right to left to hold him off. That penalty for the move in defense is what Christian Rasmussen had in race number 2, trying to hold off McElrea back at Barber Motorsports Park. A 5-second penalty dropped him back in the field and moved McElrea to the race win. We got a scrap further back here as well. Look at that fight. That, I believe, is Gold and Suleiman going at it. So the 2 teammates from Juncos Racing now ready to battle it out for 5th and 6th. Suleiman right on the gearbox. And here comes Anam Ahmed as well. This is great racing.
Good action, yeah. In the closing laps, everybody understanding that it's getting down to almost 3 laps to go. It is time to go. If there's an opportunity, now's your time. It looks like Christian Rasmussen has fallen back ever so slightly after that move around the last lap, trying to get up a little bit closer. He's given up a little bit of a ground. It's now a 0.5 second gap up to 1st place, but he'll try to close that up on this lap.
Light brake lock up for Reese Gold going into turn 14 rather. You saw that brake dust firing up out of that right front as he's getting challenged by his teammate Manuel Suleiman. Leaders now again working their way through here. 3 laps remaining. Back over to turn number 4 into this really tight 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 combination. It's just this right, left combination. Back over here to 8 and 9. Top 4 drivers now separated by less than 0.7 of a second. They got 2 back to Manuel Suleiman as he's been able to get by his teammate. Manuel Suleiman by Reese Gold. Move the 2nd-year driver now up into P5. Gold in 6th. And Anam Ahmed getting more and more comfortable with his PM18. He may look to try to find a way by as well. There they are coming through turn number 10. Back to Wyatt Prokachek and Colin Kaminsky, who run now 8th and 9th. And here's the one thing for Braden Eves. If Hunter McElrea gets close enough to start challenging Rasmussen for P2, that's going to take away from Rasmussen's offense trying to get to the lead. So again, down into turn number 1. 2 laps remaining for Braden Eves trying to get his 2nd win of the season.
Gap is a 0.5 second. There's only 2 laps to go, and there's still a bit of a gap back to 3rd place as well. Another 0.5 second to Hunter McElrea. Who's going to have the opportunity? Who's going to be aggressive on this lap to try to close that gap down? And is Christian Rasmussen going to have to play offense, or is he going to play defense with Hunter McElrea behind him? Artem Petrov looks like he is far enough back that he will not figure in that battle for the top spot, but when two cars get together, you never know what's
never
going to
know.
happen ahead of you.
And regardless, it would be the third straight top 5 for Artem Petrov. Great start to the season for him. Again, the fight here right now, first, second, and third. About a half a second between all the drivers up in the top 3 here. Watching the lap times, Eves and Rasmussen, almost identical lap times. Rasmussen quicker by 0.02 of a second last time by. But this is the run here right now. Big try to diamond there, try to get on the power early for Rasmussen. White flag going to fly this time by for Braden Eves. Big run down the straightaway. Gap is about 8 car lengths as they come by start finish. Turn 1, obviously the big opportunity. Got to apply the brakes cleanly. Eves through nicely, rolls back on the power of turn 1. Nice advantage there. That's the first defense that you had to get done. The second will be down here to turn number 4.
So far, a smooth closing lap for Braden Eves, who has led from the start. He continues to maintain that position out front, now working through the tight back part of the course where Christian Rasmussen got a little closer a couple of laps ago, but wasn't able to get by and really challenge for him. I'm not sure if he's going to have an opportunity to get close enough before corner number 10. Another passing opportunity, but a perilous one if it goes wrong.
Good run so far for Hunter McElroy, P3 on the racetrack, trying to put that pressure on Rasmussen. He'll start P1 tomorrow morning for race number 2 of Indy Pro 2000. Eves out at turn number 10. It's all about just rolling quickly through 12 and 13, back to 14. Rasmussen could go to the inside of this corner, does he? They'll work their way to turn 14. Rasmussen right there. Nice clean run. Here they come out of the corner. Eves is going to go to the bottom of the racetrack, holding that spot. Here comes the drag race to the line. Eves is already celebrating. He is the winner. Braden Eves victorious in the opening race here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg for the Indy Pro 2000 category. He puts the Cambridge Global Payments exclusive auto sports machine to the top of the charts. Again, Braden Eves, 2019 USF 2000 champion, extending his point lead significantly over Hunter McElroy. Tremendous run for Braden Eves, challenge from the get-go. Christian Rasmussen second, Hunter McElroy third. 3 drivers that we've seen excel in the USF 2000 program over the last couple of years. Another top 5 finish for Artem Petrov. He is 1 point behind Hunter McElroy in the championship standings. Manuel Suleiman able to get by his teammate Reese Gold, as we know. Manuel ends up in 5th, Reese Gold 6th, 7th. Anam Ahmed, another top 10 finish for the RP Motorsport driver. Wyatt Bekacek in 8th spot, Colin Kaminsky in 9th, and Kiffin Simpson rounding out the top 10. Braden Eves challenged all race long, could not make even a single error as Christian Rasmussen able to get by Hunter McElroy, Todd, there mid-race. Then he started putting the challenge on. I think McElroy, being as close as he was, probably kind of, maybe took away a little bit from Christian. But I know the driver making a rookie run here in Indy Pro 2000, Christian for Jay Howard Driver Development, he's got to be thrilled.
Absolutely thrilled. Braden Eves with his second victory of the season. Tremendous for him to go so far. And we're kind of focused on the front battle between Braden Eves and Christian Rasmussen as well. But Hunter McElroy was feeling a little bit of heat in the closing lap as well, headed towards the checkered flag from Artem Petrov, who was running in 4th place. Tried the same kind of move that Rasmussen was doing on Braden Eves. Tuck up as close as you can, coming out through turns 13 and 14, and then try to slingshot by before getting to the start-finish line. Hunter McElroy able to hold him off and secure that final podium position. Artem Petrov 3rd, Manuel Suleiman, who comes home in 5th, Reese Gold, Inad Ahmed in the 77 car in 6th. A terrific race, another good, strong effort by these Indy Pro 2000 cars, and as Rob mentioned, you will see them again first thing tomorrow morning on our race day Sunday here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. They will kick off our action tomorrow morning at 8, and Braden Eves getting out of the car to celebrate and jump with joy as he gets congratulations and celebrations from his team. One of the best feelings ever for a race car driver after a hard-fought battle, 25 laps of racing here around the streets of St. Petersburg, and Braden Eves comes up with a victory.
I'm feeling great. I'm tired. That was a really tough race out there. Christian was really coming for me in the end, but the pole's a big advantage, so I got out to the lead. He passed for second. We were running about the same times. Towards the end, I made one mistake and he nearly got by me, but I held him off. So, really stoked. Team did a great job. Just happy to be on top of the podium once again. Good points. And tomorrow's going to be tougher, starting from 6th, but really pumped about it and can't wait for the rest of the season.